cut the
piece of wool.
She carded the wool and made thread, and then she wove the thread into a cover. Did I ever share that? You showed it? Maybe. Let me go see if I can put my hand out. I'm just going to make that cool a bit because it makes it set up.
Aunt Marlette is showing us some of her heirlooms. This is a chair that Grandpa Watson cut down and sawed, smooth the edges for his wife, Grandma Watson. She was really tiny, not even 5 feet, so this was special for that. And there's a birthing stool also, and Aunt Marlette has historic things, and then here's a churn that she used to use with Grandma Helen Blevins. And we're in Aunt Marlette's house, just looking out. Just beautiful. So this is the blanket.
Look at note on it. This piece of cloth is very old. It was made by Smith Watson's grandmother. She grew the lamb, and when mature, the sheep was sheared. She cleaned and dyed the wool, spun it into thread, and loomed it into cloth. Now, she had to have a loom, but it's in really good shape.
Intricate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I've washed it, but it had some stains that wouldn't come out, and I treasure this. I was the only one that wanted it. Nobody cares, but I love things like this.
Oh, treasures!
Can you believe that? You know, she's
that design.
I wonder how long it took her.
I only imagine it took months.
So how did she dye the different colors?
Well, she must have had something like it'd have to be a plant.
I was gonna say like rhubarb or something.
You know, I don't think the beet color wouldn't stay in. Beets stain, but it washes right out.
Wow.
So I don't know.
It's incredible. So completely
this
homegrown.
Also is a treasure. I mean, I love these.
Wow.
My grandmother Watson, Minnie, had these all over her house. They were scatter rugs, and the country women. Let me turn it over here and show you. If they liked a pattern, like if somebody liked this, they would lay a piece of paper over the back side here, and this one you can hardly tell, but you see, actually this one I'm not sure how they did it, but they would take a piece of charcoal, just a plain charcoal, and rub over the back, and of course the stitch would show up, you know. And that's how they transferred patterns, and the country women would share their patterns. I've got 2 bedspreads I'll show you, and it was called tufting. And
right.
They would go through, they'd stitch it through the material, and then they would wash it, and that tightened it up. And then I guess these are tied off, so they wouldn't come. You can see what to.
This one, there's writing right here. It looks almost like it was a pattern.
This could have been. It could have been
flower or star cotton on yarn.
She might have in later years, but that's how. Yeah.
Rug size, American Thread Company.
I bet she ordered this pattern through the store.
Wow.
But the way that she patched it here, but it still, came out. But
Such a pretty colors and design.
You were saying something, Dad.
That pretty.
Well, what
And-
you're saying, this is a rug they would actually put on the floor.
Right.
Wow.
And it didn't have anything to keep you from sliding. And I can remember I would always ask, may I go in the parlor? I wish I'd give anything if we could go into that house, but we can't. She had these, and you go through the door, and if you didn't step straight down, you'd go whoop. So they were very dangerous rugs, but they looked so pretty. And she always kept that room. Everything was so nice. And Aunt Nadine, who worked at the place in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Can't remember the name of it.
I just know the Oak Ridge Boys. That's all I know.
And she would collect these little glass figurines. They were animals and so forth, and they were made out of blown glass. And Grandma had a little whatnot stand. It's called a whatnot stand, hanging in the corner of that room, and she had all those little glass things, figurines there. I don't know whatever happened.
So Grandma Watson would have made this.
She made this.
But
Mhm.
Smith
And-
Watson's grandmother
Grandmother.
made that.
Right, and I'll find out what her name was. I haven't remembered.
So this is your great grandmother's?
It would be my grandfather, great grandmother, because Amanda would have been my great grandmother. See, Grandpa Watson was my grandfather. Amanda was his mother, and this was Amanda's mother. I want to say Ladima, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
Now, obviously, you knew Grandma and Grandpa Watson,
But
did you know their parents at
No,
all? Okay.
no.
And on
They died before.
On the Blevins side,
On the
grandparents.
Blevins
did you know?
side, I remember Grandma Blevins. I didn't know the great grandparents, but Grandma Blevins, Elizabeth, that was Grandpa Manley's third wife.
Okay.
He delivered her. He had 3 wives. The first one, I believe, is the one that divorced her. She could have died. One of them was he divorced, and the second one could have been a death or divorce. And the third one was our grandmother, Elizabeth. She was a beautiful woman, and when he delivered her, he said, "This is the prettiest little baby I've ever seen. I think I'll marry her one day."
And he did.
Lo and behold, he did. I don't know how many years.
But which one was then Frederick's mother?
That would have been Elizabeth.
Elizabeth was, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so Manley, when you were growing up, Manley had since died, but
Yes.
Elizabeth was still living. That was
Yes,
his mother.
and she lived with us, and I remember very well. She wore high neck dresses, very pretty, even in her old age. When she's thin, when she'd stretch her neck up, there was all this skin hanging down. And as a little girl, I remember doing this, and I said, "Grandma, doesn't you know how it'll stretch your skin out?" And I said, "Grandma, doesn't that hurt?" And she said, "No, honey, it's your skin. It doesn't hurt." But she loved me to death, and of course, being the baby, I guess I got her attention, and I can remember wearing these little pants that had, they call them galluses. We call them galluses. I don't know. They're straps
Like
going across your, yeah, and with a little bib, and she made me wear a petticoat with them, and I hated that because it was uncomfortable trying to get the petticoat down the legs of that. And she'd say, "Come here, I'm going to fix it for you," and she would take her hands and run down my legs with it. Made it. And I can remember Keith chasing me. I don't know how kids, how the brothers and sisters thought he was chasing me for some reason. And I ran and I grabbed Grandma's apron and got behind it, and she kind of patted me, and she said, "Now don't hit her, don't do anything. She's not going to do that again." I don't know what I did. But such a sweet, sweet lady, and Manon and Sharon remember her well too. And she was so happy living with us. And I asked Mom one time, I said, wasn't that difficult having your mother-in-law live with you? And she said, honey, we never had a ill word. She said, I just thought Grandma's older than me. She was intelligent. And if she knew a better way to do it, I was going to learn and do it her way.
Wow.
Wasn't that a good way to look at it, you know?
Yeah.
But,
Well,
yeah.